This is Jordan Tower with JT News. Make sure you smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. Okay, so not everybody is meant to be a CEO like Camron was with Dipset. Jim Jones tried to be a rap CEO. So did Joel Santana. They saw Camron do it. And when things got a little rocky at Dipset, this is mainly around the time that Rockefeller split up. They tried to kind of split apart. So Joel started Skull Gang. Jim Jones started Bird Gang after his success with one of his first albums over at Koch, right? And they were trying to start their own crews. Joel Santana picked a handful of artists. Some of them were talented, but he just didn't know how to push them. And Joel's wasn't so hot at the time because he hadn't dropped an album in a few years because he was trying to cool his deal down at Def Jam since Jay-Z took over and wanted to get off the label because Jay-Z did not like Dipset. Okay. Jim Jones started Bird Gang. He had, people like Jha Jha, Stack Bundles, Max B, Mel Matrix. There's a bunch of other artists, okay? But these are the ones that you're going to know about. Now, Max B was arguably a breakout star. And Jim Jones didn't really support Max B enough. He wanted to have these guys around and never really let them shine. Joel Santana tried to just put them on songs and hopefully something took off. Here's the difference. Camron was getting his artists deals and giving them their own situations. Camron, when he got hot over at Rockefeller, after his bad Sony deal, he got at Rockefeller, he made sure Joel's was on the first single he put out, right? Oh boy. Jim Jones directed the video. Jim Jones is all in the video. He gave everybody a personality. Even Freaky Zeke got a deal somewhere. My point is, Camron put people on to eat. Jim Jones wasn't getting the deal he wanted at Rockefeller after a while. After they were able to. Dame's fair too. He let Camron do side deals with Koch and stuff like that for diplomats, right? So this enabled Camron to get people like Joel's Hotter to get the deal at Def Jam. Jim Jones to get a buzz to try to get a deal with Rockefeller or Def Jam, but then eventually signed with Koch and did really well over there, right? He actually took independent music to another level, if you want to say that. But my point is, Camron didn't hold these guys back to be like, nah, you're going to support my career. I'm going to let you guys, do little gigs here and there, but I'm going to starve you out. Everybody had money. Joel's had cars. Jim Jones had cars. They had money. Jim Jones was getting money. He was allowing Jim Jones to make money doing music videos, all kinds of stuff, right? So, and he wasn't stopping them from getting deals. He wasn't holding up a deal. If Jim Jones wanted to go to Koch, yeah, Camron wanted his money for the Diplomats logo, and that was it. When Joel Santana did his deal at Def Jam, he wanted his piece, and that was that. Now let's move on. Okay, so Camron, even Hell Rel, J.R. Ryder, 40 Cal, all the artists under Dipset were getting deals with Baby Grand and different Land Speed, different deals that all they had to do was pay for the Diplomats logo. Shice Bubs, they were allowed to use the affiliation. It just made the whole movement look bigger, right? Here you go, Jim Jones, right? Jim Jones signs artists like Stack Bundles, right? Stack Bundles was one of the later artists he signed. Stack Bundles, I know personally. I cried when Stack Bundles died because he was one of it was sad, man. Because he had so much talent, and Stack Bundles was a good dude, man. And I met him through Clue. So I used to work with Clue, and when I did, I met him through the Come Up. I'm sorry, when me and Fendi were doing the Come Up DVD, and I got to know Stack Bundles a little bit better when I was down with Clue, right, for a little bit of time. And Clue meant to do best, but Clue was just in a bad position at the time because he was moving from doing MTV and Hot 97 on, I forget the day Clue used to be on. I think it was Monday nights, right? and it was legendary, right? But like that kind of ended, and he was kind of reshaping his career to be on Power 105, and he had to do a lot of footwork to do that. I remember that. And MTV thing kind of ended around that time, and him and Sway had a problem. Sway kind of took over at MTV. So, anyways, he couldn't focus on Stack Bundles and Ransom, a lot of talent he had. So Stack Bundles wanted to get out of his papers. I remember seeing Stack Bundles in front of the radio station one day when I was going in to meet up with Clue. And I told him, like, yo, if you want to get out of your paperwork, Clue's going to let you out, man. You just got to catch him. He's busy, you know? And I said, you just catch him around pulling in and pulling in the parking lot, and he'll let you out. And he did. Clue's not an unfair person, okay? Clue's a fair guy. I've seen him do a lot of fair. Look at DJ Envy is a product of Clue. He was under Clue's wing. Clue's a fair guy, and he lets people eat, you know? So he never signed me to nothing. You know, we tried to do some business, long-term business. It just didn't work out, and it is what it is, you know? He let Ransom go out of his contract, you know? And Clue, I don't know what happened with Clue. I don't know why he couldn't get Stack Bundles a deal, because Stack Bundles was popping. He had him on all the Clue tapes. He was on all the DVDs and everything. But Stack Bundles felt he had a situation with Jim Jones, so, you know, he let him go. Boom. So Jim Jones gets him, and he writes Ballin', right? He writes Ballin', one of Jim Jones's biggest records, right? And doesn't get paid for it. He gets some money, but not a lot. Jim Jones owed him a lot of bread. And Jim Jones wasn't getting him a deal. And he felt like his career was stagnated when, like, you know, time's passing. You know, years are going by. He already had a few years under Clue, and he didn't want to do the same thing with Jim Jones. Jim Jones was doing the same thing to Max B. Max B was writing a lot of records for Jim Jones, and he wasn't getting him a deal. He wasn't doing anything. And Max B actually had a case at the time, and he needed money to pay for the lawyer, and he was only getting partial payments, so he couldn't really pay a good lawyer. Part of the reason he ended up at first getting 75 years. Eventually, Max B dissed Jim Jones and walked away. Stack Bundles wanted out of his contract, but ended up dying in the hood because he had beef out in Far Rockaway, and somebody caught him coming in the building late at night and killed him. And that was really sad, man, because, like, it just happened out of nowhere. It was sad, you know. I was younger at the time, and, you know, you kind of get numb to that pain as you get older, like with other friends you had that passed, like Jacka, Mike Beck. You know, I've had a lot of friends pass, you know. But, you know, it was sad, you know. But I got to work with Max B afterwards. Stack Bundles and I have a couple videos out. But Jha Jha recently came out and said, you know, I was writing a lot for Jim, and he held me back. He wouldn't give me a deal. The deal was for me owning my name and my likeness. And, you know, he was questioning why I was even looking at the contract. I didn't look at, Jim Jones was saying, I didn't look at my contract when I signed with Camron and either Jewels. Well, first of all, you didn't get in a bad contract. Second of all, it's just good business to look at the contract. And you had a history with Camron for like 4 years before you signed a contract. And Jewels knew Camron from the hood in a way, you know? So, like, it was like, it's either this or nothing, right? So, you know, Jim Jones and Max B beef for a while. Jha Jha, you know, Jim Jones has beef with all of his artists. And unfortunately for Mall Matrix, he can't see that Jim Jones is part of the reason he's locked up. Part of the reason. Not all the reason. But he was on wiretaps, and Jim Jones never got touched. Yeah, it's just, Jim Jones is a spooky person. I won't take away his legendary status. I'll always say he's one of the best people rapping out of Dipset right now. But you know, this is a man laying out his clothes at 51 like he's going to school the next day for the first day of school. You know, this is a man that's beefing with Camron about something from 25 years ago that's been settled. And not acknowledging that he backstabbed Camron with a 50 Cent thing, backstabbed him with a Jay-Z thing. You know, it's like, you got to acknowledge your mistakes. Camron acknowledges his mistakes with Jim Jones. Like, I kind of teased him a lot about Chrissy in the beginning, and I shouldn't have. Camron even acknowledges his wrongdoings that could have hurt the relationship. But, man, Jim Jones is just I wish he would just grow up, because he is a legendary person. Dipset would have never been Dipset if it wasn't for Jim Jones, Jewels, Camron, and Freaky Zeke coming together. And then they expanded from that. There's a lot of characters in Dipset, a lot that are important. Everybody plays a role. It was like a movement that was so big. It was hard to manage, but Camron didn't really have to manage it because he wasn't taking advantage of anybody. He let everybody kind of just do them and just run with the bird. It was cool. Camron, that's why Camron's still winning. He does good by people. Anyways, this is Jordan Tower with JT News. Let me know what you guys think. Peace. And hit that like button for me.